Let us continue to example number 4. Determine the slope of the line segments with endpoints 3, -2 and -7, 13. The slope, so I'm just going to write down slope. There's my formula. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to label one endpoint A, one endpoint B, and I'm just going to plug in the formula. YB is 13 minus, YA, got this mixed up. YA is -2 minus YB, 13, divided by XA, minus XB. Now, if you notice, I put the minus sign before I reached out and grabbed XB. I'm trying to avoid getting confused with a subtraction sign and the negative in front of the integer. So quickly, just sort of doing this up, so the slope is -2 minus 13, and that's -15, divided by 3 minus -7. So subtracting a negative turns into a positive, adding a positive. So 3 plus 7 is 10. So this slope here is going to be -15 over 10. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both top and bottom by 5. So it turns into -3 over 2. The reason why I divided both top and bottom by 5 is I recognize that both 15 and 10 have a factor of 5. Here's my final answer. Let's move on to the next question. This next question is a little bit different. A line segment has a slope of 3. So this is kind of an important idea. So now we're given the slope, we're given the coordinates of one endpoint, and now we need to determine the coordinate of another x point. First things first, I'm going to write down slope is equal to YA minus YB divided by XA minus XB. And now I'm just going to simply call this A and this B. This is XA, this is YA, this is XB, this is YB. And I'm just going to plug this in. So the slope is 3. So I'm going to substitute that in. YA has a value of 4 minus YB has a value of 5. So YA had a value of -4, YB had a value of 5, divided by XA has a value of 1, minus XB. Now XB I'm just going to leave as XB to indicate that it's an unknown. Now I've actually done something not too great here, but it's okay, because the less I plan ahead, the more trouble I'm going to get in. And I'll explain this a little bit later. So now, how can I do this? Well, I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 1 minus XB. And I'm going to fix up the top. The top, -4 minus 5 is -9. And what we notice is that without surprise, the reason why I multiplied by 1 minus XB is so that I would have a common factor on the right-hand side and I could cross them out. All right, so I'm just going to rewrite this, try to make this a little bit nicer on the eyes. And there we have it. So I have 3 times, open brackets, 1 minus XB is equal to -9. What I'm going to do is, now remember our rules for dealing with equations. we have a whole bunch of rules, but they boil down to what you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other side of the equation. Or you could rewrite the left-hand or the right-hand side of the equation as long as you don't change its value. So on the left-hand side, I'm just going to multiply 3 into both terms of that binomial. 3 times 1 is going to be 3 minus 3xb, because 3 times negative xb is going to be minus 3xb. And this is going to be equal to negative 9. Now, I'm just going to take some real estate here. So if I have 3 minus 3xb is equal to negative 9, I am going to subtract 3 from both sides. So 9 subtract 3, negative 9 subtract 3. So that changes this to be negative 12. So I have negative 3xb is equal to negative 12. What I'm able to determine is that I want to isolate xb. So I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by negative 3. And what I get is xb is equal to negative 12 divided by negative 3. In other words, xb is equal to negative 12 divided by negative 3, which is 4. I am going to push forward in this question, but I'm going to do this in a little bit different way. So I'm going to try to erase all of this. Give me a second. And I want to show you the importance of planning ahead. And this will look spectacular, I'm hoping. And my math should simplify a lot more. So there's my slope. Here's my slope, and by the way, I'm going to write this out. My slope was it YA minus YB divided by XA minus XB. Now what we saw was here. I'm just thinking ahead. Look at XB, or never mind, the unknown that I wish to solve in this question is going to be X. If I call this B, I will end up with having to subtract it, and through the algebra, that will get a little bit more complicated. Now, because it's negative, it's just one more step. And negatives are a really, really, really big thing where people get often incorrect. However, do you see how X, I'm going to try to solve for X. If I call this point A, then it's much easier to simplify because the coefficient, or the number in front of XA, is positive. I don't have to subtract it. So what I could do is I could call this A and this B. And I'll do this very quick. Right? Sorry, I made a mistake. So my slope is 3. My YA is going to be 5 minus my YB, which is negative 4. My XA is going to be X. It's the unknown. But my XB is 1. And how this falls out is what I get is this. And instead of multiplying through here, I'm going to have a different idea. And the idea is what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So I'm very simply going to divide both sides by 3. Because I notice that the coefficient in front of my binomial is 3. So I can just do that. I don't need to multiply through the binomial. If I do that, I notice I have a common factor of 3, and this is just x minus 1 is equal to 3. If I add negative 1 to both sides, I get x is equal to 4.